You did the responsible thing. You spent less than you earned and you tucked the difference away in a savings account. Good for you. But here is the uncomfortable part nobody warned you about. While that money sits there feeling safe, it is quietly getting weaker. Your balance is not shrinking. The number on the screen looks fine, maybe even a little bigger. So what is actually going wrong? The dollars are still there. What changed is how much each of those dollars can actually buy, and that gap is the whole story. Let me show you exactly how much value is leaking out, why it happens, and where smarter people quietly park their cash instead. Start with a simple truth. Money only matters because of what it buys. $1,000 means nothing on its own. It matters because it can become groceries, rent, gas, a flight home. Its real worth is measured in stuff, not in digits. Now inflation enters the room. Inflation simply means prices drift upward over time, so each dollar buys a little less than before. Over the long run, prices in America have climbed by roughly 3% a year on average. Some years more, some years less. 3% sounds tiny, almost ignorable, but that quiet little number is doing something to your savings every single day. Here is the key idea that changes how you see your money. There are two kinds of return, nominal and real. Nominal return is just the number the bank shows you. If your account pays 1%, that 1% is your nominal return. Real return is the one that actually matters. It is your interest minus inflation. It tells you if your buying power truly grew. So picture a normal savings account paying you a friendly-looking 1% a year. Feels like progress, right? Now subtract inflation running near 3%. 1 minus 3 leaves you with a real return of negative 2%. Negative 2%. That means even as your balance ticks up, the actual buying power of your savings is sliding backward. Let me make it concrete. Imagine you park $10,000 in that account and walk away for 1 year. A year later, the bank has added $100 in interest. You now see $10,100 on the screen. Nice. But the same basket of groceries, rent, and gas that cost $10,000 now costs about $10,300. So in real terms, your supposedly safe savings just lost you about $200 of buying power, while you did nothing wrong. That is the quiet trap. Nothing looks broken, no alert pops up. Your money just gently melts in plain sight. Now stretch that out. Over 10 years, cash losing 2% a year in real value loses close to a fifth of its power. Imagine your grandmother hid $10,000 under a mattress in 1990. Totally safe, untouched, loyal. Pull it out today and the dollars are all still there. But they buy roughly half of what they once did. Time ate the rest. Cash feels like a frozen photograph of your wealth. In reality, it is more like an ice cube left out on the counter. And this leads to a cost almost nobody puts on a receipt. The opportunity cost of holding too much cash. Opportunity cost is what you give up by choosing one option over another. Cash sitting idle gives up the growth it could have earned. Every dollar parked at a losing real rate is a dollar not quietly compounding somewhere that actually beats inflation. Compounding is the engine you are leaving switched off. It is growth that earns its own growth, year after year. Now to be fair, some cash is not optional. It is essential. This is where being smart beats being scared. You need an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses, ready instantly so one bad week never becomes a disaster. That buffer is supposed to lose a little to inflation. That is the price of having cash ready the moment life punches you. The real mistake is letting everything above that buffer sit in the same low-rate account, slowly bleeding out for years. So, where does smarter money go? Start with the easiest upgrade that still keeps your cash safe and reachable. High-yield savings accounts and money market accounts can pay far more than a traditional account, often near the inflation rate. When rates are high, these accounts have paid around 4 to 5%. Same safety, same easy access, a much better real return. Next, short-term government bonds and certificates of deposit. You lock the money briefly in exchange for a steadier, higher rate. There are even savings bonds designed to track inflation directly, so your buying power is protected by design, not by luck. Then comes the long game. Broad stock market index funds, riskier in the short run but historically the great inflation beater. Over long stretches, a diversified stock index has returned roughly 7% a year after inflation is taken out. Compare that to negative 2% in plain cash. That is not a small difference. Over a lifetime, it is a completely different future. Now, a fair warning. Stocks can drop hard in any given year. That is exactly why your emergency buffer stays in safe cash. The point is not to be reckless. It is to match each dollar to the right job instead of letting all of it quietly rot. So zoom back out. Saving is not the finish line. Saving just moves money to the sidelines. The next step is to make it work. The wealthy figured this out long ago. They hold just enough cash to be safe and put the rest to work beating inflation. You do not need to be an expert or take wild risks. You just need to stop letting safe money silently shrink by default. Keep your buffer. Then give every extra dollar a real job so time stops working against you and finally starts working for you. That is exactly what we do here. We hand you the cheat sheet to the money machine. This is Brainonomics.